If you've been working on your business for years, but your income hasn't changed, this video is uncomfortable for a reason. Because what's holding you back isn't laziness, it's not lack of skill, and it's not motivation. It's a psychological loop you don't even realize you're stuck inside. And the reason it's dangerous is because it feels like progress. Most entrepreneurs never escape it, not because they can't, but because their brain rewards them for staying exactly where they are. I'm going to show you the exact pattern that keeps you stuck, and then I'll walk you through the only 3 decisions that actually break it. But first, let me tell you about the entrepreneur who made me realize this wasn't just a mindset issue. Her name was Sarah. She'd been running her coaching business for 4 years. Every time we talked, she had something new she was working on. A new funnel, a rebrand, a course she was building, a certification program she was enrolled in. She was always busy, always learning, always optimizing. But her revenue hadn't moved in 3 years, still hovering around $40,000 a year. And when I asked her what she thought the problem was, she said, "I just need to get better at marketing." That's when I knew. She wasn't in a business problem. She was in a loop. Here's what the loop looks like. You start working on something that could grow your business. A new offer, a content strategy, an outreach plan. But before you finish it, you hit resistance. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's uncertainty. Maybe you just don't know the next step. So instead of pushing through, you pivot. You tell yourself, I need to learn more first, or I need to fix my messaging, or I should build my audience before I sell. And here's the trap. That decision feels responsible. It feels like you're being strategic. But what you're actually doing is resetting the progress bar back to 0. This is what I call the motion loop. It's when you substitute action that creates results with action that creates the feeling of productivity. And your brain loves it because motion gives you dopamine without risk. You get to feel like you're moving forward without ever having to face rejection, failure, or the discomfort of being seen. The problem? Motion doesn't compound. Learning another course doesn't make you money. Rewriting your website for the 5th time doesn't bring in clients. Only completion does. Only launching does. Only selling does. So why do we stay in the loop? 3 reasons. 1, we confuse proximity to the goal with progress toward it. Reading about funnels feels like building a funnel. Watching videos about content strategy feels like doing content strategy. 2, we've been conditioned to believe that preparation prevents failure. So we over-prepare. We wait until we're ready. But in business, readiness is an illusion. You only get ready by doing the thing. 3, we're avoiding the emotional cost of being wrong in public. And that last one is the real poison. Because if you never finish anything, you never have to find out if it would have worked. You get to keep the fantasy alive. The fantasy that you're one rebrand away, one funnel away, one breakthrough away, but you're not. You're one decision away. And that decision isn't what you think it is. Most people think the decision is, what should I focus on? But that's still a motion question. That's still your brain trying to stay in research mode. The real decision is this: what am I willing to finish, even if it doesn't work? Because the only way out of the motion loop is to complete something and let the market tell you the truth. Not your coach, not your mastermind, not your journal. The market. And the market only speaks one language: money or no money. Let me give you an example. I worked with a guy who'd been building his personal brand for 2 years. He had a content calendar, a LinkedIn strategy, a lead magnet he was perfecting. I asked him, "How many people have you made an offer to in the last 90 days? He said, "Well, I'm not quite ready to sell yet. I need to build more authority first." I said, "You've published 200 posts. You have authority. What you don't have is evidence, and you won't get evidence until you ask someone to pay you." He didn't like that, but 3 weeks later, he made 5 offers. 2 people said yes. That was $6,000, more than he'd made in the previous 6 months. Here's what happened. He got data, real data, not hypothetical data from a course or a framework. He learned what people actually wanted, what objections actually came up, and what language actually resonated. And that data let him improve his offer in ways no amount of getting ready ever could. That's the difference between motion and traction. Motion is theoretical. Traction is empirical. And you can't get traction without finishing something and putting it in front of people. So here's the framework. If you want to break out of the motion loop, you need to make 3 decisions. Not goals, not plans, decisions. Decision 1, choose one vehicle, one offer, one method of getting clients or customers, and commit to it for 90 days minimum. Not I'll try this and see, not I'll do this while I also build that other thing. One vehicle, full commitment. Because the problem isn't that your idea is bad. The problem is you've never given any idea enough time or focus to actually work. Decision 2, define what done looks like before you start. This is critical because if you don't define done, your brain will keep moving the finish line. So before you start building that funnel, decide, done means the funnel is live and I've sent 100 people through it. Before you start that outreach campaign, decide, done means I've personally reached out to 50 people and tracked the responses. Before you start that content strategy, decide, done means I've published 30 pieces and made 10 direct offers. Done has to be concrete, it has to be measurable, and it has to involve market contact. Decision 3, schedule the time you'll evaluate whether it worked. Not in your head, on your calendar. A literal meeting with yourself where you review the data and decide what to do next. Because here's what happens if you don't do this. You'll quit too early or you'll keep going too long. Either way, you'll stay in motion. But if you commit up front to evaluate on a specific date, you give yourself permission to execute without second guessing. You build the thing, you launch the thing, you let it run, and then on that date, you look at the results and make your next decision from a place of evidence, not anxiety. Now, here's the part most people don't want to hear. When you do this, most of what you build won't work the first time. Your offer might not convert, your outreach might get ignored, your content might not go viral. But that's not failure, that's data. And data is the only thing that moves you forward. Because now you're not guessing anymore. You're iterating, you're in the game. And the game is where you learn to win. Motion never taught anyone how to win. Motion just taught you how to stay comfortable. Let me bring this back to Sarah. After our conversation, she made a decision. She picked one offer. She defined done as 20 sales calls booked and completed, and she scheduled a review for 30 days out. She booked 23 calls, closed 6 clients, made $18,000 in a month, more than she'd made in the previous 4 months combined. And the crazy part? The offer wasn't even that good, but it was done. It was real, and the market could respond to it. That's what happens when you stop preparing and start completing. So here's my challenge to you. Look at what you're working on right now. Ask yourself, is this motion or traction? Am I building something I'm going to finish and launch? Or am I just staying busy? If it's motion, stop right now. Pick one thing. Define done. Put a date on the calendar and commit to finishing it even if it's imperfect. Because imperfect and done beats perfect and theoretical every single time. The entrepreneurs who break through aren't the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who finish things and let the market make them better. They're the ones who trade comfort for evidence. And they're the ones who realize that the gap between where they are and where they want to be isn't filled with more learning. It's filled with more launching. So stop working on your business and start finishing something that forces your business to work. If this helped you, let me know in the comments what you're committing to finish in the next 30 days. I'll be reading them, and I'll see you in the next one.